Alright, so for tonight's video, we're talking about writing a summary, and hopefully it should be a little bit of a review from class. By the end of tonight's homework, you should be able to take your summary proficiency test. We're going to go over yet again how to create your topic sentence by using the name it, verb it, big picture idea. We're going to talk about rule of 5 and jotting down the main ideas from the article, as well as what is textual support. So let's go ahead and get started. So what should a summary do? Well, it needs to be significantly shorter than the original text, and in fact, it should be at least half the size or less of the original. It should contain significant paraphrasing rather than directly copying words and phrases and sentences. It should be in your own words, is what that means. You need to include the main ideas in order. You're going to leave out most of the details. You're going to leave out your own personal opinion. You're going to leave out any outside information that's not drawn directly from the selection. So if you have some other random fact or whatever that you just have stored in your little brain, don't include it. If it's not in the original piece that you're summarizing, don't include it. And then it doesn't have to have a formal conclusion as well. So why do you think students struggle with summary? Well, most of the time you include either too much or too little information. So you have to find the right balance. You also run into issues, or I see students running into issues with plagiarizing. You want to turn this into your own words, and you definitely want to give credit to whatever it is that you're summarizing. You want to give a sequence of events or information as you see it in the actual article or video or whatever it is you're summarizing. Go in the exact same order that the information is presented. Remember to state what it is you're actually summarizing. So in the movie, include the title. In the article, include the title, etc. So state what is being summarized. Don't get stuck in one part of the piece of whatever you're summarizing. Do the entire piece of information, not just one paragraph of an article. Just because you think that's the most important part, do the entire article, for example. And then also, students tend to run into issues with separating what they find really interesting to what is actually important. So be careful and focus on like the main details. Think to yourself, what was it I was supposed to learn from this topic? Not what was the most interesting to me? What was I supposed to learn? Okay, so the first part or step in completing a really proper summary is to create a fabulous topic sentence. And the way that we do it in our class is to use the Right Tools idea of name it, verb it, big picture. So what that means is when you name it, you give the title and the author, if you have it, of whatever you're looking at, whether that's a short story, a novel, an article, a nonfiction article, you need to name it. Finally, give a verb. This, saying that this article describes or identifies or whatever verb you choose. You've got to use some sort of verb, and I will give you a list to help you. But know that the list that I give you is just a small portion of what you could use. And in fact, we're going to talk probably in class about the most academic sounding words and kind of elevating our writing. And then finally, the last part of your topic sentence is to give the overall big picture. Some might call this the theme, but overall just states the overall main idea of the section. And usually if you can figure out the big picture right away, what I would suggest you do is you wait and read the article, pull out your main points or your jot dots first, and then from there figure out what that main idea is. I find that sometimes to be even easier than doing it all at once at first. So here's a quick list of verbs: tells, shows, describes, explains, discusses. Those are fairly easy. Moving into some better verb or word choice: lists, explores, illustrates, teaches, compares. There's some in here like I really like describes and discusses. I also like illustrates. That's a good word. Think about just different verbs that you can use to explain whatever it is that you're summarizing. Whether it's one of my flipped videos or an article we read in class, a part of your textbook in social studies or science class, whatever. Think about the most appropriate verb to use. Don't ever use, this part of the textbook is about. Use something else. Use a better one. It's going to help elevate your writing. And then the jot dots. What are jot dots? Basically, it's just an opportunity for you to sort through whatever it is you're summarizing and pull out 3 to 6 key events or main ideas that are important. These points need to be presented in order, in chronological order, as they're presented in the article or the novel or the movie or the video, whatever it is you're summarizing. And then just like we talked about in class, you're going to want to follow the rule of 5, where each entry should be limited to 5 words or less. Why do I want you to do this? Well, this helps with that issue of plagiarizing. If you keep it to just 5 words or less, then when you go to create the actual sentences for the paragraph, you're forced to go back and add your own word choice instead of what you're stealing from the article or the video or whatever. So rule of 5 is really important, especially when it comes to avoiding those plagiarism issues and allowing you to use your own voice. Okay, so let's look at examples. So let's say that I have this pretend article called Take Cover from a Tornado. Sorry, I didn't mean to zoom in there. And what we would do first, just like we talked about in our walkthrough in class, is we're going to create our little table, right? Just our little 3-section table. We're going to title the first column Name It, the second one Verb It, and the last one Big Picture. So in the Name It section, I'm going to say that the article is called Take Cover from Tornado. And then I don't have an author's name for some reason, so I'm just using the article's name. And I'm going to say that this article describes, that's my verb, and the overall main idea of the article is the importance of being ready for tornadoes. So if I put this entire thing together, which is what I talk about in class that I want you to do, these 3 sections create one complete sentence. The article, Take Cover from Tornado, describes the importance of being ready for tornadoes. That is a great complex sentence, or a little bit more complex sentence than just saying this article is about tornadoes. Right? This is a much better sounding topic sentence. And then the jot dots that I've taken from the article is that if you see a tornado, you should take shelters, storm cellars, learn safest part of the house, tornado resistant buildings. Notice that I have how many dots here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 dots. So you really should try to limit yourself 5 to 6 main ideas from an article. It doesn't matter how long it is, just pare it down. And you'll notice that I'm using the rule of 5. Everything here has 5 words or less. This is really important, like I said, for when you create your own summary, that you're using your own words. So from that information, this is what I put together. The article, Take Cover from Tornado, describes the importance of being ready for tornadoes. A young man named Dale saw a tornado headed toward a school. He quickly drove to warn the teacher to get all the students in the storm cellar. People need to learn the safest place to go during tornadoes. Buildings need to be built to help keep people safe during these dangerous storms. Again, you'll notice that all the jot dots were used and brought out into full, complete sentences in the order that the article used them, or in the order that I had them, basically on this the last slide that I had. All right, moving on to textual support. You're going to hear this a lot this year because the Common Core definitely asks that you use textual support all the time. So what is it? It's quotes from the text. That's simple. Now, quotes from the text do not mean that you have to use stuff that has the quotation marks all the way around it already. That's what we just would refer to as dialogue. No, quotes from the text just mean any selection from the text. It could be a couple of words. It could be part of a sentence. It could be a whole sentence. It could be a couple of sentences. Your decision. That you're pulling from the text to explain something. So why do you use it? It elevates your writing. This is allowing you to use facts or excerpts from an article if it's nonfiction, or quotes from a text if it's fiction, and you're going to use it only if it fits with what you're writing about. Don't just randomly plug a quote in there, textual support in there, thinking that it's going to give you a higher grade if it doesn't fit with your writing. You've got to go through, revise, read through it, make sure that your quote fits with the surrounding sentences. Otherwise, it's not going to do you any good. All right, so now you're done with tonight's homework. We've reviewed everything we've talked about in class. You hopefully at this point have already gone through and done a walkthrough in class with me on an examples article. And now you're ready to try this proficiency out. Please don't forget, before you come to class tomorrow, to complete the digital list, the summary and question, press submit, and then we'll figure out where you're going to go next tomorrow. Hopefully you've completed everything that you need to for the course at this point before you can take your proficiency test. Please give me a heads up tomorrow if you're ready to start your test. All right, thanks guys.